because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know. Now it's showtime.
All right, Donald Trump wants to control the elections federally. Why that's a really bad idea. And Savannah Guthrie, of all people, have had some horror happen to her. We're going to talk about that and so much more on today's Karel Show, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Come on.
Now it's showtime.
It is the Karel Show. I am Karel, so very glad you are joining me on this fabulous, fabulous morning. Oops, gotta fix the audio here. Can't be having any of that. All right, so I have to start the morning with, how do I say this? I am not proud of what just happened at my park, out with Ember on our morning walk. There's a lady there and her 14-year-old lesbian-looking son, who are Trumpers, died and true. And they're rude people. And I was leaving and I made a joke with my friends that were there. I said, oh, I'm going to go see the Melania movie. I want some alone time. And she was walking and with her dog and her lesbian-looking son and said, oh, I saw it. It was so good. She's such a classy lady. And without even thinking, I turn and I go, she's a whore who excuses her husband being a sexual predator for money, for power and privilege. That is the very definition of that particular word. You know, she doesn't love him. It's obvious. I'm like, you know, and then she looked at me and called me a pedophile. And I said, I'm the pedophile? Your guy's name is in the Epstein files more than Christ is mentioned in the Bible. And I'm the pedophile? Well, she went off and I just, you know, she was yelling back things at me. And I was walking, and these other two Trumpers that have the big Great Danes, who normally we just, you know, say hi, whatever. They're all, oh, Charles, you know, just come off it. Besides, your guy Clinton is the one that's going to go into the Senate. And I turned at them and I lost it. I lost it. I said, just own the fact that you follow a sexual predator, that you are fine with the fact that he obviously is involved in some way in the Epstein files. I looked at them, I said, I watched the BBC. This morning, Sarah Ferguson has lost her charity. It got shut down. A member of parliament had to resign. They're talking about criminal proceedings against Andrew or sending him to the United States to testify before Congress. They're doing something about it. You guys are forgiving him. Not Bill Clinton, but you're forgiving him. And that's when I realized, at the beginning of this year and at the end of last year, I said that I can't every day come out here and talk about Donald Trump because of what it was doing to my life. I am not the person that goes off on a screaming match. I wasn't debating. I was screaming. And I'm not that person. But I am so sick of him and his supporters, and the supporters getting a pass because everyone says, well, you can't change the minds of an idiot, or there's no point arguing with them. That's like saying there was no point going up to the Nazis and telling them they were horrible people. The fact that the good people have stayed so silent for so long is why we are here. But now I think it's irreversible. I don't think we can go back to being a civilized, sane society with civilized and sane government. I don't. America is irredeemably lost. And this morning proves it. Not one, not two, but 4 people defending Donald Trump at my local park. 4 people. When the man is in the Epstein files more than Christ in the Bible. When any other presidency would have been sunk by the controversy. He destroyed the East Wing and is doing nothing to rebuild it. Now he's going to destroy the Kennedy Center. It was just renovated in 2019. He destroys everything he touches. He has destroyed our country, and he's destroying the people that follow him. You know, I also read a thing yesterday that really got to me about education. It was in Salon. And it said that 15 teachers were asked just one thing, about their students. And the 15 things were so alarming. And so they put them all in a story. Students that can't write their names. This one coach, when they went to a swim meet, asked the students that were participating to self-address an envelope so they could mail them stuff from the swim meet. Over 2/3 of the students didn't know how to address an envelope. They are all using AI, Sora, ChatGPT. They have brain rot. So America is not going to get any better because the people that are going to take over are idiots.
If you're not visiting reallykarel.com daily, you're missing out. Get the podcast, videos, and the blog, including recipes at reallykarel.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know.
This woman this morning, she said, that's why Trump wants to federalize the elections, to make sure people like you don't get, and I said, what, don't get a say? Trump wants to federalize the elections. The Constitution prohibits that. But he doesn't care. He doesn't care. And I have to go, but I don't want to make this personal, but you know what? This applies to every single one of you listening to me. You all are going to have to make a decision that will directly affect my future. Because I'm telling you, this is driving me insane. Kelly Clarkson leaving her show, not insane. Jennifer Hudson doing her show, not insane. Drew Barrymore doing her show, not insane. Me, insane. I know people like Stephanie Miller try to look for the humor in it. There's no humor in this anymore. There's none. And making light of it, making jokes about it. Even Jimmy Kimmel has gone much more serious talking about it. He's not joking as much about it. It's not funny. 2 Americans have been slaughtered in the streets. And now the medical examiner deemed Alex Preddy a homicide, which means murder, which means ICE, at behest of Kristi Noem and Donald Trump, murdered a citizen. That is a murderous conspiracy. If it's a homicide, and the medical examiner said it is, then the officers, their boss, and their boss's boss that gave the orders are all guilty. And Trump will not be charged with murder. And Kristi Noem will not be charged with murder. This is why I am screaming today. It's not that these people are out there doing these crimes. It's that nothing is happening to them, but they're being rewarded. Trump is getting richer every single day. That Melania movie made him $28 million alone. They're getting richer while we are out here struggling and now fighting amongst ourselves. And he wants to federalize the elections? I mean, even if, why? The only reason that he could want to do that is because he wants to cheat. And that's obvious. Isn't it obvious to everybody? Isn't it obvious to you? It's obvious to me. He wants to cheat. They don't want to lose power. And my friend said the other day, they'll start losing when the churches turn against them. Well, the churches have proven to be hypocritical agencies that need to have their tax-exempt status pulled. Because any person that claims to be a Christian that supports Donald Trump is not following the Bible. Now, I'm an atheist, and I know that. Nowhere in the Bible does it say rip families apart, kill people, smote thine enemies. And yet, here we are, with evangelicals still Trump polling at 71% approval with evangelicals. The same people that said I shouldn't be able to get married and that my lifestyle is an abomination approve of Donald Trump's lifestyle. That just shows it's all a scam. That religion is a giant grift, just like the Trump presidency, a giant grift. And I don't slight grifters for grifting. They're like snakes. They're going to do what they do. But everybody falls for it. They've fallen for the religion grift for centuries. And now they have fallen for this administration's grift. And I'm just tired of being around people that stupid. And I don't know what to do about that. How to make myself less angry. You know, because I'm angry. I am angry today. I am. These files came out, and who is going before Congress? Bill Clinton? Bill Clinton? Hillary Clinton? Those are the first to testify? Not Bill Gates? Not Elon Musk? You know, not the department. There are so many department heads in Trump's administration that were emailing Epstein talking about going to the island. Why aren't they go? Nope. Bill Clinton. He's the one that has to go. And look, he was photographed in hot tubs with victims and the like. He should have to answer. But so should everybody else. But not in our country. Oh, in Europe, they're answering. Around the globe, in many countries, they're answering. Just not here. Here, the rich, you know, it must be great to be a white, rich, powerful man in America. Because right now, you're Teflon. You can do whatever you want. Run a company and bribe a president? Not a problem. Come on in, Tim Cook. Come on in, Jeff Bezos. Come on in, all of you. White, rich men. This is their time. And they're loving it in America. They're loving it. And it's just so sad. It is just so sad. You know? Yes, Rachel, I worry about me too. I do. This morning I thought, well, I probably shouldn't go back to that park for a few days. I'm almost just going to bring her husband. You know, I called her president a sexual predator. Because he is. He's been convicted of it. But it doesn't matter what I said. I didn't change her mind. All I did was raise my blood pressure and created a scene. It really is like trying to do CPR on a corpse. Trying to bring sanity to America right now is like trying to do CPR on a corpse. I mean, you can do it. You'll break some ribs, but you ain't going to bring them back to life. And here we are. It's a sad state of affairs. It is. I need some hot chocolate with Chambord in it. Uh-huh. Oh no, my little mic thing came off. Why didn't you guys tell me? Why didn't someone say, hey, Karel, your little black windscreen came off? There we go. Okay. Got to have that on there. Oh, is there anything fun to talk about? What I meant was, for those of you that do listen, is how many of you, I need to make this relatable to you. I can't have this just be about me. I need to relate this to you. How do I do this? You know, I felt a lot of regret yesterday and depression. I said in your 20s, you drank every night going out with Ken and worried more about Ken's career and life and dinner and everything else than you did yours. You didn't devote every moment of the day in your 20s to being an entertainer. I wrote and ended up writing for some huge publications, but I did not, you know, perform and be out there all day, every day. In my 30s, it became about Andrew and alcohol. I drank a lot in my 20s and 30s and 40s. I drank a lot. I guess I was an alcoholic. I mean, I didn't go through withdrawals without alcohol, and I could live without it. I could go days or weeks without it. But when it was available, I drank it. So I guess I was a social drinker. But I drank a lot, 4 or 5 times a week. And last night I had such regret. What if you hadn't done that? What if instead of going out to gay bars every night, you worked on a play, you worked on a movie? You're regretting you're not doing other things in entertainment at 63, but you didn't do them at 30. Yes, you wrote, you did #1 radio, you made history, you did some television and all that, but you didn't capitalize on it. You didn't get an agent. You did. And I thought, what are you doing? What does all that matter now? Okay, so you screwed up. You know, you spent more time on people than you did on your career, on persons with AIDS, on, you know, all day, every day was Andrew and his health, basically. So I had a lot of regret last night. And then this morning, I had a lot of rage because there's no end in sight to what's happening with Trump. And I said to myself, the brand's not working. You're not Harry Sisson. You're not Steph Miller. You were once, but you're not now. You know, it's like America. The brand isn't working. America is not working for Americans. It's just not. Oh, it's okay. You can get by, but it's not working. It's not allowing us to flourish. It's just allowing us to live. And the same is going on with my brand. It's allowing me to live, but I could not do without the $1,000 a month from Patreon. I couldn't. And so I'm not flourishing. Neither is the country. And I look at the parallels and think, well, what can you do? Your audience requires this of you. And you're not Don Lemon. You don't want to be Don Lemon. I don't want to be Don Lemon. I don't want to be out there reporting hard news. I don't want to be Aaron Parnas. That's not how I want to fill my day. And so I feel trapped. I can't give up the one thing giving me the $1,000 a month, but I don't want to talk about Donald Trump every day to where I'm screaming and yelling at people in the park. And how you're not, I don't understand. How you all are so calm, I don't get it. How America is so calm, I don't get it. How everyone isn't, what's his name from Network, screaming at the top of their lungs, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. How are the Democrats not that way? How is every senator and congressperson not screaming about how frustrated and angry they are and how we need to get back on track? And I don't understand where the anger is, because it doesn't seem to be anywhere. And maybe people have given it up because they realize it's futile. Being mad about it is futile. So they just quit. I think America's in the quit phase. Even our politicians, they've just quit. They've stopped trying to demand accountability from anyone that's doing real crimes, Kristi Noem, anybody. There's just no accountability, so people are just stopping demanding it. They're like, well, it's not going to happen anyway. She ain't going to be fired. She's not going to be impeached. You know, he's not going to be impeached. He's not going to be removed. So what good does it do? That's quitting. So the left is quitting. They're just giving up. They're throwing up their hands and saying, you know what? I can't. This is the way it is. I can't stop it. You know, like when Jelly Roll was criticized at the Grammys because he basically said, well, I'm not involved in politics. And a lot of people said, well, isn't that, rich white privilege to where you can't pay, you're so wealthy, you don't have to pay attention to people being murdered in the streets. You don't have to pay attention to soaring prices. You're so in your own little bubble. And I almost thought, you want to criticize that? I'd love to be in one of those bubbles right now. A Mariah Carey bubble, where all I care about is fashion, my music, and purses and handbags and shoes. Now would be a great time to be vapid. Because if you're not, I don't know how you're not all screaming. I don't understand how we're not all screaming. I don't get it. People in the chat room are talking about regret, and I have a college degree. I have an AA. I didn't finish my BA. I'm like one semester away from a Bachelor of Arts. I went off to be an artist instead of studying and getting a degree in being an artist. But, I don't get it. You know? I you know what I spent the morning reading? About dementia and aging, because I'm very interested in that. Why do 15% of people get dementia? And am I going to be one of them? My mother had it slightly, and my Aunt Irene now has it. She's 94. She didn't get it till she was 92. And they don't know what's causing it. It's not Alzheimer's, because dementia is like AIDS. If you're diagnosed with dementia, it's many things that could be causing it. It's not just one. Alzheimer's is one of the things that causes dementia, but it is not, quote, dementia. Dementia it can be one of many things. I worry about that. That's if I did a show every day of the stuff that I'm reading and the stuff that's interesting me, we wouldn't talk about Donald Trump at all. That's not what I read. That's not what I study. I'm into more health and fitness and veganism and entertainment and, you know, all of that. That's what I spend my time reading. Although sometimes politics is really entertaining. I mean, the Melania flop is fun. That's fun. But that's entertaining.
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
All righty. Sorry, I was searching something there. In the chat room, I scream into the void every day. I don't think anyone listens to me. Amen. We're not all screaming because we don't want to die of heart attacks. Another word. Amen. Don't want Trump to kill us. You know? I mean, you gotta get through it alive. You know, now they're voting to stop a government shutdown because they can't do their jobs. And because, you know, Democrats are finally saying, we got to get a hold of ICE. Now, after it took 2 Americans dying. That's the other insult to injury, isn't it? You know, now they're screaming about funding ICE when before the 2 Americans got shot, there wasn't this call to defund them. And yet they were dragging people out of their homes, breaking up families, putting people in detention in concentration camps. But that was fine with the Democrats. But then 2 white people got shot, and now they've gone too far. That's crazy. You know, that is crazy. The Democrats should have wanted to stop them from day one. And in Portland yesterday or the day before, didn't they did tear gas or something? You know, I'm like, oh, God. You know, meanwhile, the Clintons have agreed to testify. I guess they're just trying to be good law-abiding citizens. They've been called by Congress to testify, so they're going to do it. But for him to be the first one, you know? And meanwhile, we're reminded of the bizarre fragility of life with the Savannah Guthrie story. She was getting ready to go cover the Olympics, and her mother has disappeared, like on one of my shows. She's vanished. It's a crime scene. They're thinking she was kidnapped. And there's been no ransom demand, so she could be dead. Like Savannah Guthrie's mother being kidnapped and possibly killed? To what end? Savannah Guthrie isn't a political commentator. She's not like, you know, I don't even know who, Ann Coulter. You know, I don't know. But she does the Today Show or whatever. She is not Dana Bash. And her mother, for some reason, has been either kidnapped or killed. You know, I don't understand why Hillary's been subpoenaed either. I don't. Why is Hillary's not mentioned in the files? She never met it. You know, she never went to Epstein's island. She's never been on the plane. She's never met Epstein, or just at fundraisers. You know what I mean? She met him at fundraisers, and different events, but she's never like gone and hung out with him on the sofa. Meanwhile, Brett Ratner, who denied knowing Epstein, who produced the new Melania movie, who got paid millions to do so, There's a photo in the new release of Brett Ratner sitting on the sofa with Epstein and 2 girls. I never met him. Oh, really? So this photo is Photoshop, AI? Truly. You know? Why are they dragging? Because optics. The Republican Congress want to drag Bill and Hillary through the mud. Not their guy. He should be the first one on their list. But I've heard nothing about Trump going and testifying. No, but the Clintons, they got to go. What about Elon Musk? He's got to go. Nope. Bill Gates. Now we see why he got divorced. Yep. You know, we really need California, Oregon, Washington to form the Western Alliance. Maybe a few other states. And then the Eastern Alliance, Massachusetts, Vermont, Pennsylvania, to form the Eastern Alliance and together form the alliance. I have written about this in a TV treatment for a TV show called The Alliance. We need to leave. We can't be a part of this government, or we need to leave. So we can address healthcare, climate change, affordability, all the things that Trump and his cronies even when he's gone, he's not going to be gone. Those people aren't going to magically disappear from government. It's time to break up. If we were a couple calling Dr. Laura, she'd say it's time to break up. So why don't we? California, Washington, Oregon, Hawaii, perhaps. And they can't even consider that. I don't know why. It's 2026. How about we start considering we could join Canada? I'm being serious about that. California, Oregon, Washington, Massachusetts, New York, other states could just join Canada or form our own alliance. Wouldn't Trump die? Wouldn't he die if California and Washington and Oregon wanted to band with Canada? Instead of us taking over Canada, wouldn't he just die if Canada decided to ally with California, Washington, and Oregon? Wouldn't I'd move there. I'd move back to California in a moment's notice if it aligned itself with Canada. Just that fast. Europe, did you see what happened? I have a friend in Ukraine right now. Scott, he's on the show. Scott Jacobson. He comes on the show to do This Gay Week. He's in Ukraine right now. And last night, Kyiv had its worst bombing ever. Is no one going to stop that war? I thought Trump was going to stop it on day one. Is it just going to keep going and going until there is no more Ukraine? Is that really what's going to happen? Because where's the end? Where is the end of Ukrainian conflict? It's been going on for years now. Putin could be stopped tomorrow if the major world leaders, the United States and Europe, told him it's over. If you don't stop, we're attacking you. It could stop tomorrow. But, so then why not just withdraw all help? Why keep giving Ukraine just enough to get by, but not enough to win? See, that's America. That's exactly what I said. Just enough to get by, not enough to win. That's us. And that's Ukraine. Wow. Okay. We'll be back in just a second, but that's kind of profound. We are like Ukraine.
It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karel Cast. Driving you home or driving you crazy. It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karel Cast. Driving you home or driving you crazy.
Now it's your time.
See, you gotta love this Politico headline. House Democrats once again left complaining about a Senate spending deal, but not doing much else. That just sums it up, doesn't it? Just complaining, but not doing much about it. You know? Yeah, Savannah Guthrie's mother, and Savannah Guthrie has finally broken her silence, asking for, of course, prayers and thoughts and all of that. But they got to find her mom. How, in today's world of DNA and everything, come on, get CSI in there. They got to do something. She's been abducted. Who takes someone's mother? She's 84. 84 what do you do with an 84-year-old woman? And why abduct her and not give a ransom demand? Can any of you think about? I don't. What's going on? An 84-year-old woman goes, and she's not demented, so it's not like she's, wandering around in the woods like Ray Taliaferro did. She's got her wits. 84, and to be taken from your home. This is a horrifying story. And to be a famous person's mother, the Pima County Sheriff described the home as a crime scene. So it must be obvious that she was abducted. She probably fought back. But if they're not doing ransom, although we wouldn't know, if they issued a ransom demand and said, don't tell anybody, maybe. I don't know. I feel so. Biological DNA at home of Savannah Guthrie's mom has been submitted to, so there is DNA. Who takes someone's mother at 84? The world is sick sometimes. So I hope they find her. I hope they're able to, bring it back. I truly do. The Muppet Show is back, by the way. The Muppet Show has been revived. Yep. I'm glad to hear that. I love the Muppet Show. Chapel Roan says her outfit at Grammys wasn't that outrageous. It wasn't. As I said yesterday, newsflash, women have breasts. And hers were covered in latex. People are just so weird. Remember when celebrities got in trouble for showing their body parts? On media and everything else, if they ran around half naked. Remember all the flack that Jane Mansfield got for showing her breast? That's in the 50s, the 60s. Jane Mansfield got all that flack from people. And now Chapel Roan is just walking down somewhere. Jane Mansfield was going, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Trump says he won't tear down the Kennedy Center, but it's going to rehab. Oh, great. Thanks for that, at least. Good Lord. Chuck Negron, the voice behind Three Dogs Night, Joy to the World, and other hit, dies at 83. Oh. Joy to the world. All the boys and girls now. I love Three Dog Night. How many of you remember Three Dog? I remember Three Dog Night. How many of you remember Three Dog Night? Raise your hand. Y'all remember them? I remember them. Big hits in the 60s and 70s. I really do. I loved them. Oh no, Sherry Shepherd's daytime talk show is canceled, citing the evolving daytime television landscape. That means they are selling it. Did you know that most of your morning shows that you watch now are sold? You can't book a guest unless you pay. Here in Las Vegas, we have morning shows that start at 9 o'clock, from 9 to 11. And I thought you could just be booked as a guest on there. So I called all of them because they do entertainment features and they do restaurant reviews and travel features, products. I thought you could just call and be booked as a guest. Nope, you got to pay. KTLA Channel 5. Their show between 9 and 10 or 9 and 11, their morning show, you have to pay. You now have to pay to be on morning shows. Yep. Well, bye, Sherry Shepherd. And no more Kelly Clarkson. She's quitting too. Good Lord.
If you're not visiting reallykarel.com daily, you're missing out. Get the podcast videos and the blog, including recipes, at reallykarel.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know.
So they say the decision is driven by the evolving daytime television landscape and does not reflect on the strength of the show, its production, or the incredibly talented Sherry Shepherd. We believe in the show and Sherry, and they're going to explore alternatives for it on other platforms. The final episodes will air this fall. Also, Kelly Clarkson has announced after 7 seasons that she's leaving. They noted the marketplace for daytime talk shows and, frankly, TV talk shows in general has deteriorated in recent years amid pay TV declines and challenging advertising environments and fierce competition from video podcasts on platforms like YouTube. While daytime talk show hosts were once some of the most prominent of all TV, Oprah, Ellen DeGeneres, the market has cooled off in recent years. Wow. So, wait, are we just not watching talk shows anymore, or are we only watching them on YouTube? Huh. I wonder. Because people are still watching people interview people and do a show. I guess they're just watching them on YouTube. Yeah. They should pay you. Hi, Sandy. I agree. Yeah. Why are these artists bowing out or quitting? I think it's the administration. I actually think that people are leaving, like Kelly and Sherry Shepherd, because of Trump. You know, Don Lemon said it last night on Jimmy Kimmel. He said that corporate media has all been bowing down to Donald Trump, all of them. And that, you know, the only place to find shows are on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, all of that. And that's why he's happy to be staying on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and all of that. They, you know, he's been asked, would you take another network television show? And he said no, because he would then have to go by their agenda. And they're all trying to curry favor with Donald Trump for corporate merger reasons or for whatever. Edward R. Murrow would not be able to get a job today. Walter Cronkite would not be able to get a job today. Well, granted that they're dead and that'd be a problem, but you know what I'm saying. People that were like Walter Cronkite or Edward R. Murrow, they wouldn't be able to get on network TV. Why isn't Aaron Parnas doing a network news show? Because he's making more money doing 1-minute videos on Instagram. You know? And it's odd that to watch this landscape shift, as I've always wanted a daytime talk show. And now there will be no daytime talk shows. I'm always late, aren't I? Always late to the damn party. Yeah. This is such a key issue, according to Rachel. The media is so much a part of everyone's lives. So as the wealthy gain more money, they crap on us. Yeah. Remember the Mike Douglas show? Remember the Merv Griffin show? Remember, you know, what's his name? Dick Cavett, the Dick Cavett show? Where they would have, and now with the fairness doctrine being perverted again, so Trump wants to bring back the fairness doctrine for all networks, but in a different way. He wants it to apply to late night TV as well, to where if they have someone on that's political, like let's say Pete Buttigieg, then they have to have a Republican on as well that same night to counter anything that Pete Buttigieg might say. Well, networks aren't going to do that. Shows aren't going to do that. So they'll just stop booking the political guests. It's a way to get late night TV to stop booking political guests by saying if you book a Democrat, you have to book a Republican. Now, they don't also say you got to book a Green Party member and a LaRouche member and a this. Nope. It's if you book a Democrat, you have to book a Republican. And they're doing that. And so I think that's why hosts are leaving. I really think that hosts are afraid. I do. And watching Don Lemon get arrested, he said that he wasn't put into a cell, he was put into a waiting room. That once the federal agents at the federal building, once he was around them, they were polite and courteous. But the ones that arrested him, he said were horrible individuals. Terrible people. He had a diamond bracelet. And he asked one of them, it kept getting caught on the handcuffs. Don't you hate when your diamond bracelet gets caught on the handcuffs? How horrifying. My diamond bracelet kept getting caught on these ugly silver handcuffs. And so he asked them to bring it up to his husband at the hotel. He was arrested in an elevator coming home from a music event. He had offered, through his lawyer, several times to turn himself in. If they were, in fact, going to charge him, his lawyer let Pam Bondi and others know that he would willingly come in, like Donald Trump was allowed to do. And that's the problem. We should have done to Trump what we did to Don Lemon, gone to Mar-a-Lago, dragged his ass out in handcuffs. But no, he was allowed to turn himself in. So Don Lemon said, I will turn myself in if you really want me to come in. So instead, and they knew this, but instead of doing that, they bum rushed him in an elevator at his hotel. Bum rushed him. Over 20 agents were there. And he asked one to go bring this diamond bracelet up to his husband in the room, and that's how his husband found out he was being arrested. They bum rushed him in an elevator. They didn't need to. He said he would turn himself in, like Donald Trump. But they didn't care. They wanted to make a spectacle. Yes, Reagan got rid of the fairness doctrine. Donald Trump is trying to bring it back. So when did Donald Trump have control of TV programs? Well, since he took office. Since he got ABC to pull Jimmy Kimmel for a week. You know, over insulting Charlie Kirk, whose widow is running around throwing shows and feeling up J.D. Vance, whose killer we have yet to hear anything about the trial of, whose body we don't know where it's at. You know, the person I believe that the right had something to do with assassinating. Their halftime show. If a halftime show is being headlined by Kid Rock, it's not a halftime show. It's like a quarter time show. It's like an eighth time show. And a halftime show. Kid Rock and a country has been artist. Bad Bunny's halftime show this weekend will be the most watched halftime in Super Bowl history. Period. It's going to blow out all records. You wait and see. 1 billion people will probably watch it. And that's going to kill Donald Trump. Who doesn't even and their marketing for this Turning Point USA halftime show is an American halftime show. They don't even realize that Puerto Rico is an American territory, that it's part of America. These people are so stupid, they don't realize that Bad Bunny is an American. They don't understand that. But he is. Yes, he's Puerto Rican, but he's a Puerto Rican American. And they just, that part escapes them, I guess. They don't, you know. Right, that's what Don Lemon said. They arrested him that way to make a scene, to try to scare other journalists. You know? And is it working? I don't know. It's getting so if you call yourself a journalist, you're in danger. I don't know where this ends. Well, yes, I do. It ends where Nazi Germany ended. There's very few dictators that have gone on for great periods of time. Putin, Z, and that's about it. It's really, Kim Jong-un. And that's about 3 people, 200 countries. And you have 3 dictators that have gone on for a length of time. Most other dictators fall. And the Trump administration will fall. First of all, he's going to die. He's 80 and sick. He's going to die. Maybe not in office. Maybe he'll live the whole 4-year term. But he's going to die. So their hero is going to die. Second of all, if the Democrats are able to even run in the midterms, if he finds a way to federalize the elections and the courts don't stop him, I mean, it's pretty clear in the Constitution. You know, let's ask, can Trump federalize elections? Isn't that unconstitutional? Let's see what it says. Based on the United States Constitution and legal precedents, a U.S. president cannot unilaterally federalize or take over state-run elections. Doing so would violate the Constitution's separation of powers and the 10th Amendment. Do you think they care? What a president can do. The president can use their position to influence public opinion. The president can direct federal agencies to enforce existing federal laws, such as using the Department of Justice to monitor for fraud or civil rights violation. In summary, the move would require new, comprehensive federal legislation passed by both houses of Congress, which would then face judicial review. So, no, he can't do it. So, you know, that's that. But he'll try. Hadn't stopped him before, has it? He'll try. And just because they want to cheat, because he knows, with that Democrat just winning in Texas, he knows that there's going to be a bloodbath, that Republicans are going to lose and lose big. And he knows that. There's no redeeming the Republican Party now, or MAGA. The stench is everywhere. You know, the Republican Party is so stinky that Mike Johnson can smell it in his closet. You know, it is bad. And that stench is going to have a bloodbath in November, on my birthday, November 7th. I really don't see a way for Republicans to win unless they cheat. And they might. They might. I mean, you know, it's not like they haven't cheated before. So I believe Elon Musk handed Donald Trump this election. I don't think he won. I don't think he won fair and square. I do not think Donald Trump won this last election fair and square. I think Elon Musk rigged the votes. I really, truly do. And I'm not alone. And there's many intellectuals who think that they rigged the voting machines. And I think they want to do it again. But we'll see. You know, we shall see. Yep, America is over. I now live in what I call survival mode. Isn't that sad? Oh, Castro, Fidel Castro. Thank you, Ray. You're right. Castro was a long-lasting dictator. He was. He was. I don't know how that happened, but he was. Some of us might enjoy a good bum rush. Okay. Oh, you mean when Don Lemon was arrested? At least they didn't strip search him. He said they didn't strip search him, although they said he couldn't have a phone call. They said he could only contact a lawyer, and that's it. No phone call. So get this. He used his Apple Watch. His Apple Watch has cell service. So he used his Apple Watch to call his husband and they left his Apple Watch on him. And he used it to call his lawyer, his husband, and then one other person to alert them that he was in jail. Yeah. And he didn't know, Don Lemon didn't know that there were thousands of people outside of the courthouse waiting for him. He didn't know Jane Fonda was there. He didn't know any of that because he got taken into custody at 12:30 at night in an elevator at the hotel, going back to his room. And they kept him in this other room at the federal building. And then he finally saw CNN at 6 a.m, and it was all about him. And he asked the federal agent, have you seen any other reports? And the federal agent said, you're on every news network. You are the big story today. He didn't know. He had no idea. And when he walked outside, he didn't know there were thousands of people there. He didn't know Jane Fonda was there. He didn't know that the reporters were set up. He didn't know any of that. So, yeah. Lucky he had an Apple Watch. Yeah. It wasn't paired to his phone. Because my Apple Watch doesn't work like as a phone without my phone. So they took his phone. But his Apple Watch, and you can buy Apple Watches that have their own cell service. So if you're separated from your phone, it will still send and receive calls. So he was able to do that. Almost made me want to do that with mine. Like get one that hey, just in case. You never know when you're going to be bum rushed in an elevator, not in a good way, honey. I mean, I've had men rush me in a hotel elevator at 12:30, but they didn't want to arrest me.
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
Now there's some good news. One of my chatters, Phineas J. Whoopi, is getting a puppy tomorrow. I've been so worried about Ember. I haven't shared it with you all, but I've been so worried. First of all, she's doing this thing with her mouth. Like all the time now. The doctor has looked and can't find anything. We don't know if it's a mouth thing or if it's a gut thing. We don't know. And so the first thing he wants to do is a dental. And she's doing it right now, every time she wakes up. So the first thing he wants to do is a dental, and I'm terrified of those because of anesthesia. I know it's safe. I know she'll be fine from the anesthesia, but it scares me. She's 10. And then I think her bladder stones are acting up. She's peeing quite a bit now. Not all over the house, like not everywhere she goes, but she is peeing a lot more now. And that's 2 surgeries. And then for the bladder stones, they can do it laparoscopically, but my vet doesn't do it laparoscopically. And there's other vets here in Vegas that do, but I don't know them, and she's never been to them. And I know we could go and get a consult and all of that, but I'm terrified that she needs 1 or 2 procedures. Plus, I pay $235 a month. My pet insurance, they just sent me a note. It's going from $215 to $235, and they won't cover this. You know, Trupanion is a fucked up pet insurance. Because she didn't have it from a puppy on. She had nationwide for 9 years, and they cut her off for no reason because they were just going to stop doing business in Nevada. So I had to go get her a new insurance company, and they don't cover pre-existing things. And she's had bladder stones for 5 years. So if she needs the bladder stone surgery, I have to pay. And that's like $2,500. And then the dental is $1,500. So $4,000. See, that's what I think about all day long. Yesterday, I looked how many units are for sale here in my building. I hate where I live now. I love my condo. I hate the location. Homeless are coming in. The HOA is letting the grounds go. The writing's on the wall. This place is going down. I want out. There's 9 units for sale in here. And some are as low as $190. I can't sell this place for $190. I need at least $250. That's what I think about when I'm off air. What about you? I know when I'm off air, you guys aren't sitting here thinking about Trump all day, every day. What are you thinking about? I'm thinking about how I need to sell my house and get out, but the market is such that you kind of can't. Interest rates are still high. People don't want to buy, condos. Las Vegas is slumping. Tourism is down because of greed on the strip, corporate greed. Corporate greed is killing Las Vegas. Do you know there's now a buffet at Caesars that's $175 a person? A buffet. I don't care what the fuck they're serving. $175. Bottled water in hotels are now $10 a bottle. Cocktails are $20 at the hotels. Parking is $20 an hour. Rooms are exorbitant. Resort fees have gone where? Corporate greed is killing Las Vegas. It used to be a place where everybody could come and feel like a winner. Get a cheap buffet, have free cocktails while you're gambling. Not anymore. And so that affects my property value. Plus, there's no water. Can we talk about how Colorado needs 4 foot of snow or they're going to have a severe drought? How Mount Charleston here in Las Vegas is empty of snow and it's February and there's no snow on it. Just a very little. The Colorado is going to dry up this summer. So where does Las Vegas plan on getting its water? I want to move. If I'm going to live in a place like this that's hot, then I'll move to Palm Springs. At least it's in California and there's gays and it's 2 hours outside of LA, so I can go back and forth to events like the Grammy stuff. So, at least it's near the entertainment industry. And there's gays, and maybe I could perform more out there. But I really want to go to Lisbon and look around. Or Vancouver and look around. I do. I'm ready. I want to go. That's what I think about all day. Outside of my single and doing the videos and all of that, all my music. Outside of music and entertainment, the only other thing I think about is how I want out. And it's stressing me out beyond belief because I'm not done being an entertainer yet. Even though the entertainment industry appears done. Sherry Shepherd, done. Kelly Clarkson, done. Soon J. Hud and Drew will probably follow. Stephen Colbert's last day on air is the day Andrew died, May 21st. May 21st, Stephen Colbert leaves. He'll probably get another show somewhere, but it won't be, on CBS at the Ed Sullivan Theater. So Colbert, gone. Kimmel, hanging by a thread. All the stuff that I do is kind of being phased out. Liberal progressive talk. I don't know how those two women do it. What is their I've Had Enough or I've Had It or what's their podcast? It's something like I've Had It or something. Two women. They're fabulous, but how do they get so popular? So I don't know what you think about it during the day other than Trump, but what I think about other than Trump is entertainment, my music and such, and then moving. I want out of Vegas. I like Vegas. I do. But there's no water. And it's hot in the summer. We need water. And there's no real gay community here. I want to go someplace queer where there's gays. Older gays, over 40. That's what I think about. I know, poor Ember. Pet insurance is a lot more as dog age. Yep. So I worry about her. I am worried. I'm very worried. She needs a dental and maybe bladder stones. But those aren't major surgeries. As long as she has cancer or anything. Well, we don't know. We don't know what's causing the thing in the mouth. All right, I'm out of here. I'm sorry today. That park thing really shook me. I feel badly. I shouldn't have yelled at her. I mean, she's an idiot Trump supporter. I should not have shouted and screamed Melania's the W word and that Trump is mentioned more in the Epstein files than Christ in the Bible. And I shouldn't have done it. I feel more people should do it. But the reason that I shouldn't have done it is because people aren't doing it. No one's confronting these people. I could have been shot. She could have gone to her car and gotten a gun. So that sort of threw me off this morning, and I do apologize for that. But, these people, they're under my skin today, Trump supporters. They're like a plague. I am Karel, be who you want to be, so don't hurt anybody. Try to avoid the plague. Try to avoid Trump supporters. It'll just piss you off.
It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karel Cast. Driving you home or driving you crazy. It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service.